Golfers, is the sport we play and love one of our nation's greatest national security threats? Is the Saudi Arabian government going to change the game of golf forever? Is the PGA Tour going to be around in 10 years? My name is Andrew Oliveira, and we will be looking into the LIV Golf vs. PGA Tour controversy on this podcast. Over the last 2 years, no news in the world of golf has been bigger than the Saudi Arabian government's involvement in the sport. Dumping over $2 billion just to start a new rival league to the PGA Tour, spending hundreds of millions more to hire players from the tour to join their league and leave the PGA Tour for good. With astronomical amounts of money being poured in by the Saudi Public Investment Fund to buy off these players, the PGA Tour is facing a crisis not just rare to golf, but rare to sports. With all this going on, there leads to a lot of questions to consider. Is this good for golf? Does this position Saudi Arabia in ways that can hurt the United States? Is the PGA Tour truly innocent? Plus many more. There's never been a more critical time in the sport's history.
Have you ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour?
First things first. What the heck is the PGA Tour? Think of this as golf's National Football League. It is the highest level of professional golf outside of the four majors. To fully understand why the PGA Tour is under attack by the Saudi Public Fund, it is important to see what the Saudis saw to form LIV Golf. As little as 2 years ago, golfers on the PGA Tour financially made a significantly lesser amount than other professional athletes, causing a financial crisis with the lower half of players on the PGA Tour. In an interview on the Full Send podcast back in 2021, then PGA Tour golfer Bryson DeChambeau revealed the struggles of financially staying afloat on tour. He went on to say that any golfer that finishes the year outside the top 160 will lose money playing on tour. This is a result of the massive expenses these players accumulate playing on tour. He goes on to say, and I quote, "We're independent contractors. We've got to pay for all of our expenses. Every hotel we have to pay on our own, food, etc. You do everything yourself, and you've got a family to feed, and you're missing cuts. And when you miss a cut, you make nothing. You think it's great on tour, but once you start getting into the nitty-gritty and it's your livelihood, it's a very interesting scenario." At the time in 2021, there is no such sport where this issue would occur to top athletes. In 2021, the tour's top player, Jon Rahm, made $7.1 million from the tour. According to Forbes that year, the MLB's leading salary was Mike Trout at $37 million, the NBA's Steph Curry at $45 million, and the NFL's Patrick Mahomes also raking $45 million for his work on the gridiron. All the while, in this same year, the PGA Tour, who's supposed to be a nonprofit, reported a $1.59 billion revenue on their 2021 taxes. As this issue became more and more apparent, talks amongst the players on tour began, and a player-wide consensus became clear that something both needed and could be done to fix this.
LIV is the future of golf.
That right there is one of the biggest pieces to the LIV vs. PGA puzzle. Introducing Greg Norman, former world number 1 golfer, major champion, and now the chairman commissioner of LIV Golf. Being such a successful player and floating around the golf business world post-retirement, Norman had an ear into the players on tour not many people in the golf world had, making him the prime candidate to lead a new league in golf. He would partner with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to receive investments from the Saudi Public Investment Fund. These investments totaled billions of dollars and allowed LIV to not only produce quality tournaments for fans, but put players under contract that guarantees them money. These totals were astronomical, with signing bonuses that were upwards of $100 to $200 million per player. Now all they needed were players to go. The first to go is no other than PGA Tour legend and World Golf Hall of Famer Phil Mickelson, pinning him as the unofficial lead spokesperson for the LIV players in the future. Phil signed a $200 million deal with LIV, according to Forbes. This is more than double the amount of money he has made from the PGA Tour over the course of 30 years. But with all this money, why the heck would anyone turn these offers down?
In a piece posted on the Fire Pit Collective, the World Golf Hall of Famer told journalist Alan Shipnuck, the author of an upcoming unauthorized biography of Mickelson, that he would support the new league even though the Saudis are scary to get involved with. "We know they killed Khashoggi and have a horrible record on human rights. They execute people over there for being gay."
As you can imagine, signing a contract to play and get paid for by a foreign entity proven to have once funded terrorism did not entirely sit well with a lot of people, especially the PGA Tour, who now would see them as a direct competitor. Golfers who went over to LIV risked a whole lot for the big payday: sponsorships, public scrutiny, and most importantly, PGA Tour access. That meant for a lot of players, their access to play in the golf's four majors were in question. The Masters, the PGA Championship, the US Open, and the Open Championship are golf's 4 biggest events known as majors. They are unique in that 4 of golf's governing bodies host these annual tournaments instead of a particular tour. The most universal way to qualify for these tournaments is through the official World Golf ranking points, which can only be accumulated by playing the PGA Tour and its partner tours. For a lot of players, taking the money to join Live Golf was a risk of losing their golfing legacy. So for almost a year, the 2 tours would coincide. Live would slowly pick off and sign notable PGA Tour names such as Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Cameron Smith, and Bryson DeChambeau. The defectors would play a season on Live, and the loyalists would continue on the PGA Tour. Tension between the 2 tours grew, and in May, it seemed like Live hit its peak, with Brooks Koepka becoming the first player to win a major while signed onto Live. When it all seemed like each tour had its place in golf while vehemently despising each other, all of that would change come June 2023.
What we're talking about today is coming together to unify the game of golf and to do so under one umbrella. And David, the way that we're doing that is we're creating a for-profit LLC that the PIF is going to invest in.
Okay. What? So after a year of legal battles, slander, name-calling, and worse, we're now finding out that Live Golf and the PGA Tour all of a sudden want to suddenly merge? How can such a 180 happen? How after so much money was spent from both sides on player funds, legal fees, and fan enhancements, how could both sides suddenly come together overnight? And what happened to the morality of the situation? Does money just change that? The entire golf world was shocked to say the least. Players from both tours were notified the same time the general public was. Golf fans, after debating and picking sides for months, would have to come back together and see a world where the PGA Tour takes money from the Saudi Public Investment Fund, but still is the premier golf tour of the world. With the United States Supreme Court not wanting to let that initial legal battle go, there are still some hurdles for this merger to go through. But with a path for partnership between the tour and the Saudi Public Investment Fund's Live Golf, one has to wonder what on earth caused this change of decision by the PGA Tour and Commissioner Jay Monahan. Is it shady business? Is the tour and Monahan trying to hide something? Would the pending lawsuit show something damaging to the tour? With all these questions still needing to be answered, this developing story can impose serious implications for the game of golf, American sports in general, and even our national security. Whether you're a fan of golf or not, this story and its future developments will impact our lives for years to come.